Alrighty, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back with more of The Letter. We put in and by we, I mean, me. I put in a good solid 4 hours into the beginning of this game yesterday. So we made a bit of progress. We have still played as just Isabella, our real estate friend, tasked with selling a infamous haunted house. Unfortunately for us, we were accosted by a gross ghost lady. Who, as well as a cursed chain letter, demanding us to pass it along to 5 other people or else. So basically we did that. We met up with our friends. We got to learn a little bit more about Isabella, as well as a few of our friends who kinda don't believe us about the ghost and the curse, but they're our friends, so they're still kind of around. And we also talked to our mother, and then we met the ghost lady again, and made a scene in the middle of public. She was kind of haunting us through the glass of a storefront. And I believe last we left off, we are planning on meeting with a professor to help us out. We had an option earlier to either meet with a professor or to have a priest bless the haunted house, but I figured why not go with something less creepy, because we were trying to sell the house, and we did sell the house. Still haunted and evil and everything. But yeah, let's just load on in here. Just get right into it. No more stalling for time, I guess. All right. Yes, this is our apartment room. Still pretty dirty. We got lots of empty instant noodle cups on our desk and on the floor by our desk, and some in the trash, but the trash looks full, so I guess that's why the trash just kind of moved to the desk. We got our a nice empty cup under the bed. We have our... Is this some kind of like bat cat pillow? Nice, very nice apartment. Anyways, morning dawns bright and clear the following day. Although the air still feels muggy and I miss the chilly autumn weather, you and me both. It's one of those rare weekends when I'm up, even before my alarm rings. If it wasn't for Ash's call last night, I'd probably sleep in. When 9 a.m. rolls around, I'm already heading downstairs, where Ash is waiting for me in his car. His hair's a disheveled mess, eyes drowsy, and overall looking like he hurried to get out of bed. Or fell out of it. Or both. Oh, Ash. He looks adorably rumpled this way. Does he? But I'm not going to tell him that. It'd only bloat his unbearable ego.
Good morning, Ash.
He makes a motion with his finger around his ear. Tone it down.
Can you even drive?
He answers me with a slight raise of his hand, a yawn, and nothing more. He has never been particularly fond of mornings, and for that I'm thankful to every god in the universe. less mental capacity for him to make fun of me. Ha! There's the reason why mornings are my favorite. It doesn't take long for us to reach our destination, the small cafe situated in Luxbourne's busy street. The same one I'd often visit with Becca for its cheap food. Oh, we were actually there yesterday. We treated everybody to a nice lunch of sea bass and asparagus. I've never gone here on a Sunday, and it's striking how different it appears without the usual weekday and Saturday rush. The atmosphere especially reminds me of something we also have back home, near the university I used to attend. I wonder what happened to it. It was being renovated before I left, so I never got to visit one last time. The place has always had a calming effect on me. But today, despite standing in a similar place to it, anxiety easily washes over me as soon as I step out of the car. I'm quite used to dealing with people I've never met before, thanks to my work, but still, I don't know him. Well, you got one up on me, Isabella. I'm not used to dealing with people I've never met before, and all of that is terrifying. In spite of the fact that both Ash and Becca have vouched for him, what will he think of me and my story? What if he thinks I'm crazy? Hell, even my own friends thought so. I draw in a breath to quell the panic beginning to rise in me. Oh well, only one way to find out. A few hesitant steps forward, and then Ash is suddenly pulling me back by my elbow.
Hold on, scaredy cat, not too fast.
Without warning, he flicks my forehead. Hard.
That hurts! What was that for?
He's already walking away when I look up, and I hurry to catch up to him, puzzled. I really don't understand this guy. At least explain why you're flicking other people's foreheads all of a sudden. So rude.
Get yourself together, will you? He's not going to bite. He's very accommodating, too.
I wasn't scared of him or anything.
You don't look like it. Didn't sound like you were okay last night either.
Huh?
What was that last one? Hey! Don't just ignore me!
Ash just ghosts out of that scene. All questions and retorts die on my mouth once he opens the door to the shop. A cast iron bell attached to it chimes softly, announcing our arrival. The smell of freshly brewed coffee welcomes us as soon as we step in. Like the usual, several tables and chairs have been set up for the patrons, but most of the customers have forgone them. In favor of the more comfortable throw pillows and beanbags the staff has laid out on the floor. Must be behind. Well, I mean, are these like beanbag chairs? Yeah, maybe. All right. Becca would love to know they have something like this on Sundays. She's been complaining how uncomfortable the library chairs are for a long time now. Ash leads me to a secluded spot near the window where an old man, probably in his 50s or 60s, is seated enjoying a brew and a book.
Professor Clark!
It's just Andrew now. I'm no longer your professor, Detective Inspector Frey.
The guy, Andrew, looks up from his book and gives him a smile. A sheepish look crosses Ash's face at the older man's admonishment. More unusual, in my opinion, is seeing him appear like a parent has just scolded him. But it suggests a familiarity between them, one that goes beyond what someone expects from a simple student and mentor. With another warm smile, he gestures for us to take the empty seats opposite him.
Have you been waiting long?
Quite some time. But I come here early on weekends. Best time to get their first serving of bear claws. They're the only place that serves it here. I took the liberty of ordering for you two. I hope you don't mind. I thought it'd be best to talk over a decent helping of coffee.
Soon enough, a waiter brings us 2 more cups and sets down a basket of pastries.
Aren't you going to introduce the lady?
Yeah, Ash.
Ah, right. Sorry. Isabella, this is Prof. Andrew. He's one of my professors back at the university.
Nice to meet you, Prof. Andrew.
Andrew, this is Isabella Santos.
Santos. Portuguese? Spanish? Brazilian? Mexican?
Filipina, actually. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor.
Ah, your name carries a lot of history, Miss Santos. Just Andrew is fine. Don't do what Ashton's doing. He doesn't listen to this old man.
He doesn't listen to anyone, more like. The awkward tension typically present in first meetings dissipates after that. I was expecting someone strict, and to an extent, someone severe. But Professor Andrew Clark is definitely the opposite of what I have in mind. The more personable kind, similar to a grandfather who dotes on you at family gatherings. It's obvious why Ash has taken a liking to him.
Ashton tells me there's something you wish to discuss that I could help with. Let's hear it then.
All right, sit on down, Prof, and get ready for a ghostly tale of curses and gross ghost ladies and haunted houses. I give Ash a hesitant glance, but he just nods and gestures towards Andrew with his head. He's leaving this to me. It's my story to tell, after all. I keep it short and concise. I found a letter in this old mansion. Now I'm cursed. Exactly as I have told Ash and Zach when they asked about it. I don't mention the name of the place. No use saying it now that someone else legally owns it. No use dragging other people into my problems.
I'm sure it's that letter I found. But I don't know anymore. I just want to know how to escape this nightmare.
Of course. We're talking about the one in Anselm Village, aren't we?
Ah, fuck. You figured it out, didn't you?
How did you...
Don't look so surprised. There's only one place popular enough here if we're going to talk about hauntings. I once had a colleague who wrote about it and the urban legends surrounding the place. Years worth of study, but fascinating. It's a shame he passed away at such a young age. He would have done a much better job at explaining topics like this one compared to me. Ashton here might disagree, but it's an interesting topic in sociology, if you care to have an open mind.
Studying the science and theory behind it is completely different from outright believing in it.
You don't believe in those stories, sir?
Now, this isn't a question of belief. All I'm saying is things like these speak a lot about a place's culture and history. And it's not just limited to ghosts. Monsters, gods, you name it. Even you, Miss Santos.
Even me?
What about me?
Yeah. What about me?
How you respond to these stories. It tells a lot about you and your upbringing. In the same way it tells me why our detective inspector here finds such topics absurd.
Oh, sort of like if I grew up and all my parents did was curse at me, then that means I would eventually find an ancient chain letter that would curse me as well? Is that how that works?
Interesting, isn't it?
Sure. My head is starting to spin from all of this. I'm not the smartest person around, but I understand what he's trying to get at, I think. It's still too much to take in at once. I look to Ash for help, but his eyebrows are drawn in a frown. If he keeps staring like that at his cup, I'm pretty sure it'll crack soon.
There's still something you're not telling.
Didn't I tell you everything the other day?
Yeah, but you mentioned the rites. Then you proceeded to drop the topic right after. What's with that?
They don't have anything to do with this.
Rights. Luke and Hannah, right?
And Professor knows everything.
Yeah, they're the ones who got the place.
I'm not surprised. They're the kind who gets what they want once they set their eyes on it.
That's true. That's exactly what they did.
From what I've heard, word gets around.
A heavy sigh escapes my lips. Popular or not, they're just my clients, albeit a little pushy, but just clients. End of story. I wish he'd stop pestering me about them. As much as I would love to tell Ash to shut up, maybe we shouldn't make a scene with our new professor friend, who, Ash invited here to help us out. So we'll be polite for now. What is it again that Becca does when dealing with a particularly difficult child? The pesky, annoying kind? I wish I could remember. I could certainly use the same trick right about now. Can we send Ash into, the corner here for some kind of timeout from coffee and pastries?
Ashton, look here. I know you're trying to help, but the deal's almost already closed. The papers are being prepared. Once it's done, it's over. I'm just their agent.
And when is that happening?
When what? Is there even a purpose to this line of questioning?
Your working relationship with them. When's it going to end?
About a week from now. It depends on how long the approval process would take, but they wanted us to rush it.
Really? You're absolutely sure about that?
Yes, really. Unless they want to buy a house again and want me and Rose to be their agent. If yes, then I don't see a problem with it. Now stop annoying me about it.
Don't accept it.
What? Why? It's my job.
Oh Lord, even my younger siblings aren't this difficult to deal with. Then again, Ash is far from a younger sibling to me. If he'd only spell it out, surely I'd understand. We wouldn't even have to talk about it right now. That's how it is, right? Find an even ground, talk about it like the adults we are. It wasn't like this before. But somewhere along the way, something has changed in us, as people, as friends. I wish there's a way I could tell when or why. Instead, I'm left searching blindly for reasons. The next thing we know, we'll be drifting further and further apart. How frustrating.
Now, kids, settle down. We're not going to solve anything by shouting.
Sorry, Sir Andrew.
And we're not going to solve anything either if you keep omitting things.
Speak for yourself. I'm not the only one doing it.
You'll have to forgive my former student, Miss Santos. He's always been the curious kind. Many people think he's lazy, but it's actually the opposite. I see that hasn't changed.
Oh, really? How is he back when he was your student? I'm sorry, I need to ask. He doesn't talk much about that.
And there's a reason why. Please don't.
Tried to sleep on the first day of class. He didn't repeat it after what I made him do when I caught him. Students like him are the easiest to deal with, once you know what piques their interest. I'd have to say, he's one of the very few who's actually interested in the subject, though. But there was this one time when...
By the end of the conversation, Ash looks like he's praying for the ground to swallow him. He's never been one to talk about himself. What I know about him are mostly bits and pieces I've gleaned over the years. He's an atrocious singer, he's bad at art, and he has a personal vendetta against mornings. Now it feels he isn't that hard to figure out after all. It's past noon when Andrew has to leave us for another meeting. But before we separate...
Miss Santos, a word of advice. Just keep in mind that when it comes to cases like this, things aren't always what they seem.
Naturally, the mansion and the letter was brought up several times during our talk. And though Ash is right, in that Andrew offers a different perspective, he has left me with more questions than answers instead. What is she? What does she want from me? Is she ever going to leave? They all continue to bug me after we've left the coffee shop. I don't even notice when Ash takes a different turn on our way back.
Where are we going? You can drop me off at the park.
Guess. You have 3 chances.
I'm serious, Ash. Where are we going?
He doesn't answer, but shortly he stops his car in front of a small, nondescript food stall, a little ways away from the movie house. If I wasn't paying closer attention, I would have missed it without a doubt. He motions for me to wait as he gets off the car and walks in its direction. Sheesh. If you want to buy something, just say it. No need to make yourself look mysterious. It makes you look more like a dork than cool. The wait isn't long, however. Soon, he's walking back holding 2 fish-shaped cones in both hands. Ice cream? Parfait? A cross of the 2? By the time he's back inside the car, I've given up any effort to figure out what he bought. Not that it looks bad. It's actually quite cute.
Here, take it.
I have to move my head back a little when he thrusts it at me to avoid the ice cream and the fruit toppings from ending up on my nose.
What's this for?
Aw, it's like a little fish cone. Got some, I'd try this. I'd totally try this.
My arm's getting tired. 5, 4, 3, 2.
With a wary glance, I take it off his hands. I still don't understand why there's a need for ice cream today. Does there need to be a need or a reason? I don't think so. Nevertheless, I take a small bite. It's actually pretty good. It must have shown in my face because he chuckles as soon as I take another one.
Saw the place open the other day when we watched Zach's movie. Thought I should give it a try. It doesn't seem like a bad place to get food from time to time.
And you're giving me free ice cream because...
Do I need to have a reason?
Are you really going to ask me that?
Here's the thing with Ashton Frey. He does not just treat anyone to free food because he feels like it. He's that much of a Scrooge. Hell, he even asked me to teach him how to haggle once. Haggle, of all the people who'd ask me that. I'd have expected such a request from Becca, but Ash? Not at all. If I'm going to be honest, he looks a bit constipated with that expression on his face right now. I think he's starting to regret ever buying this.
The other day? The movie with Zach and Rebecca? Rebecca's there, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Anyway, during the movie, that's to say, we...
Come on, Ash. Spit it out.
Shit. Should have written down something first.
Get to the point, Ashton.
Right. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry for, not getting to the point. I'm sorry for the other day. I got carried away. I said things that upset you. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Okay? That's all? That's all you're going to say? You're not still angry, are you?
You didn't have to buy me anything. A simple sorry would have been enough.
I bite into the cone again, a small attempt to keep myself occupied, and relieve the heat crawling up my face. It doesn't work, but at least I don't have to look at him. Why I'm feeling embarrassed over an apology, I have no idea. It's not like it wasn't called for. They were being mean, especially him, and in that fraction of a second, it hits me. He skipped his day off just for today. I should be the one apologizing and thanking him. Silence is an awkward company while we finish our respective snacks. There are words for this. For people like us, for understandings and sentiments like this. Yet in this instant, they won't come. As promised, he drops me off at the park right after. Phrases unsaid still hanging heavily in the air. In this weather, the city park gives off a lazier and more languid vibe than usual. Where children are usually seen running around and playing, there are now people lying, leaning back on their picnic blankets, simply enjoying the afternoon sun. The smell of food drifts from nearby carts, and if the wind blows in the right direction, one could catch the whiff of freshly trimmed grass. Maybe I should try walking home today. To get my mind off things? To try and find the words somehow? I haven't done that in a while.
Thanks, Ash, for today.
No problem. Say hi to Rebecca for me.
Yeah, I will.
Even so, I linger. We both do. A mild, humid breeze brings the smell of dried leaves, warmed earth, and a far-off distant memory. A fall starts, and awkward first meetings. Same place, same people playing the same parts. Funny how of all the days, my brain chooses to remember it now.
Wait, Belle.
Ash exits his car. His strides are unsteady when he approaches me, or maybe this is his uncertainty showing. I'm not quite sure. He has never looked uncertain to me before. Always calm, always sure, always collected. He stops a short distance from me. Close enough that he's within an arm's reach, but just far enough for his voice to be heard over a decent small talk. If this is what it's going to be. He fumbles for something in his pockets.
Here, catch.
The small bag lands cleanly on my outstretched hands before it hits the ground. I raise an eyebrow at him, and he responds by shrugging and stuffing both his hands back into his pockets. Somewhere to the side, he finds an interesting spot to look at. Sometimes you have to wait, Papa said long ago. For once, this time, I listen. His voice is halting, hesitant, when he finds it again.
My mom used to make me carry around one of those when I was young. To ward off evil and bring you luck, she said. I don't believe in this kind of thing now. But if it makes you feel safe, since you're a total scaredy cat, then I guess it's okay to give you one.
Was that like ADR'd? Definitely. That line sounded louder and different than any of his previous lines. Oh well, perhaps, at the moment, there aren't any words for it. I've never been good with those. But right now, I could thank him in the best way I know. Let's just not completely let him off the hook here. I close the short distance separating us and give him a light punch on his arm. The gesture, familiar, in place of phrases one couldn't spin together or answers too early to seek out.
See, you can be pretty nice when you're trying.
I am nice.
When you're sleeping, but thanks for this.
Don't go losing it. It brings bad luck if you do.
Wait, are you serious?
I knew there's a catch. This ashhole.
Yeah, that's what they say.
You did this on purpose, didn't you? Oh, I should have known.
Not entirely. But seriously, if anything happens, tell me. I'll be around.
Before leaving, he waves at me one last time. He's back to teasing me, back to our usual routine, back to what we're comfortable with. But for all that, I believe in him. I just hope I can keep them safe, keep him safe. A light wind blows again, sending dried leaves swirling, and the distinct smell of earth into the air. For the first time, the sunlight feels less harsh. Maybe a walk is good. I need to visit the grocery, too. Come to think of it, wasn't there an art store that opened recently near the park? The cat's name is Beruthiel, or at least that's what his collar says. It's an odd name to give a cat, in my opinion, but it speaks grace, much like the one that carries it. It shows in the way he swishes his tail, and his eyes follow my hand's every movement. I'm not sure what he finds fascinating in me, to be honest. I wasn't the very picture of grace when he found me, after all. It was a bad idea, carrying 2 heavy bags of newly bought art materials and groceries without help or a sure ride home. In hindsight, perhaps I shouldn't have bought all of these at the same time. I didn't even make it past the park. And now, I'm suffering underneath the glaring afternoon sun, hunched up on a park bench, and drenched in sweat, in the company of a cat curiously watching my every movement. I hope it stays where it is. It's just a black cat, but back at home, they're considered ill omens.
Don't look at me like that. I can act graceful as well if I want to.
Not that I've ever acted graceful in my life, of course. Growing up with rowdy younger brothers and a sister does that. Or maybe it's the opposite. Mama used to call me a little troublemaker before. Well, graceful or not, there's no use moping. A short breather, and then I'm off home. Besides, it isn't like the company's bad, even if it's a cat, as long as it doesn't bite or crosses my path.
Where's your owner, anyway?
He has one, doesn't he? An owner? That's what the collar's for, isn't it? A bandage is wrapped on one of its paws, though. I wonder what happened to it. Did he run away?
Well, if you don't have one, I won't be able to take you in. My apartment doesn't allow pets. I tried to bring one home before, a cat. Not Black, of course. And Rebecca threw a fit before the landlady could.
I take a small packet of sweets from one of the bags beside me and pop it open. As I'm about to put one into my mouth, he meows. My hand stops.
Do you want one?
He doesn't meow again as I'm expecting him to, but I take his unblinking gaze as a yes. I shift the piece to my palm and hold it out to him warily. He sniffs at it once, twice, before.
Baruthia!
Oh, Miss McCullough. Like a good, properly trained pet, Baruthiel responds as soon as he's called. Recognition comes as soon as my head snaps in the direction of the voice. Miss McCullough's hard to miss. What with her height?
I'm sorry. Did my cat hurt you? Miss Santos, was it? I'm surprised to see you here.
Nice to meet you again, Miss McCullough.
Were you harmed in any way? I'm sorry. Baruthiel's not exactly fond of other people. Even run away from the veterinarian right now.
Oh no, he was just sniffing my hand earlier.
My Baruthiel's a she.
Yeah, Isabella. She? All this time I thought... The pause in conversation, if this can be called one, is uncomfortable. We're merely two people working different jobs for the same client. Frankly, meetings like this don't happen a lot, and if it does, a simple nodding of heads is enough. Still, trying to be friendly wouldn't hurt, right? Let's just stick with the cat. We like cats, even if Isabella seems to have a problem with cats. I keep my tone cordial and warm.
I'm actually surprised you have a cat, Miss McCullough.
And why exactly is that? There are a lot of people who have pets.
Yeah, but not a black one. I'm amazed you're taking care of one.
I don't understand what you're trying to get at. Is there a problem with my cat?
No, not at all. She's very sweet. Just in other cultures, aren't they a sign of bad luck?
Back at home it is. My grandmother used to tell me stories about it, and... I mean, you know, growing up, that was also a thing I recall, like black cats being evil, or a sign of evil, or evil witches have them, all that nonsense. Load of bullshit if you ask me, though. Nothing wrong with black cats.
Nothing has happened to me so far.
Displeasure is evident on her face. Ah, of course, I've forgotten that for other people, black cats are an omen of good luck. There you go, running your mouth off again, Isabella. I rack my brain for a way to remedy the situation, but she holds out a hand.
This is a good place to stop and end this conversation, don't you think so? It is good to see you again, Santos.
A complete dismissal, if I've ever heard one. Well, we tried. Maybe we really should have just talked work. Oh well. What are you gonna do? I watch her as she leaves, though she stops shortly before crossing the threshold separating the park and the street. She faces me again, looking like there's something she has forgotten to say.
By the way, about the Ermengarde mansion, with my clients, it's the rights, I mean, I hope you don't mind me asking, but has the deal been finalized?
There's still a few papers they need, but the house is more or less theirs now.
Ah, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Wait. About the mansion.
Oh, here we go. Isabella, you just can't help yourself, can you? The letter, the same one they saw. Whoever she is, she's asking for help. Someone. I want to tell Miss McCullough that the urban legends aren't just legends anymore. They're real. She is not gonna believe me.
Don't mind me. I need to go too. Have a good day, Miss McCullough.
I hastened to pick up all the bags I've left on the bench, and ran as far as my legs could take me. In that moment, what I'm carrying in my hands weighs far lighter than the overwhelming guilt trying to consume me. Home. I want to go home. Anywhere where I won't be reminded of the house, of her, of my own cowardice. The food tastes less appetizing tonight. A pity. One would think that someone who had been on a continuous binge of instant noodles would find a home-cooked meal enjoyable. But it isn't. Hunger isn't what is gnawing at me tonight. Neither are my sore muscles. The TV runs loudly in the background, but what it says barely registers in my brain. It's hard when the things you're trying to forget keep returning to the forefront of your mind. It distracts you, eats at you, devours you. I wish this would stop. I wish I wasn't the one who picked it up. I wish it was somebody else.
In other local news, a woman was found dead in her home.
Yesterday evening.
Luxbourne police officials are currently investigating the crime scene, but has classified the case as homicide.
Huh?
The victim, identified as Rose Pamela Cooper, 33 years old, working as a real estate agent.
Oh. That's our co-worker. Rose?
Discovered lying in a pool of blood in her two-bedroom flat with the words "Help me" repeatedly written on the walls.
Help me, just like the, cursed chain letter. Another victim by the Anselm Butcher? A woman brutally killed. Yep, that's Rose. No. No. This isn't what I want. This isn't supposed to happen. None of this is supposed to happen. No one's supposed to die. Those are just stories, right? Legends. That's what everyone's been telling me, so why? And I immediately rushed to my study table in search of my phone. My hand, cold from dread, clings tightly to it as soon as I touch its edges. A piece of folded paper, the letter, lying unassumingly beside it, slips to the floor when I pick up the device. But I pay it no mind. There are more important things. Right now. Right now. I need to call her. I need to call her. I was with her. I was just with her not too long ago, and she was okay. No. 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 It isn't Rose, I'm sure of it. I just talked to her and... A sob escapes me, and hot tears begin to blur my vision. One after another, they trickle down, weighted by the very same guilt I refuse to admit I've been carrying from the start. The same one I've been hiding from. The same one that has put the people I care about in danger. My hands shake as I navigate to Rose's number on my contacts list. She'll answer, right? That's what she always does. She'll pick up, tell me to turn down the waterworks, and call me a wuss afterwards.
She'll answer. Please answer, Rose.
Again and again I dial, whispering, praying, pleading.
Come on, Rose! Don't do this to me! Please pick up! I know you're there, Rose. You're not dead. Please tell me you're not.
This adds to the series of deaths and disappearances that has plagued Luxborn in the recent years. The authorities are currently looking at a possible link with the notorious Anselm Butcher case.
The TV runs loudly in the background. A deafening static sounds from my phone's speakers. But in my ears, I can only hear the screams, her pleas, her whispers. Help me. We are not safe. October 24th, Monday. A buzzing sensation jolts me awake. My body still wants to sleep, to forget what I heard, what I saw last night. But it's there, nudging, prodding at me. Slowly, I become aware of how awkward my position is, and the aches that accompany sleeping in a curled-up position the night before. If I even slept at all. The memories are impossible to forget now that Rose is gone. They say it's easier when you say it out loud. Instead, the words weigh heavier on me each time. She's gone. Gone because of me. Gone because of one letter I was too curious to look at. I should have been more careful. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I should have destroyed it before anyone else had gotten involved. I should have... The notification light on my laptop blinks incessantly, mockingly, when I look at it, as if it's calling me back to a sense of normalcy. I check it, nevertheless, out of habit more than anything. Alright, looks like we have an email. Subject, strict attendance required today. Let's see, from Joanne Scholes at BriarRealtyCorp.com. To all BRC employees, in light of the recent events, I'm assuming it should probably say, in light of the recent news and events, there will be an all-staff emergency meeting from 1 o'clock p.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. Attendance is a must. Company changes, new hierarchy, and policies will all be discussed during the meeting. Everyone is expected to bring a copy of their own attendance logs and sales reports for the last 6 months to be submitted to your respective managers for review. We are expecting everyone's cooperation. Thank you. Joanne Alice Scholes, BRC HR Manager. Oh, if it isn't HR being completely garbage. If this were one of those typical days, I'd happily comply and get myself to our office. Today my limbs just feel heavy. On one hand, going will keep me busy, take my mind elsewhere. On the other, the place in itself is a stark reminder of what my own fears have cost me. I should just... Well... I mean, as much as I'd love to stay home, in both the game and in real life, I suppose we should probably go, anyways. I mean, we don't want to lose our job on top of everything. Or maybe even look suspicious, like, oh, we're on the run because we're secretly the Anselm killer, or butcher, or whatever it is. Alright, let's go to work. Let's get out there. Let's do something. Moping won't get me anywhere. This is just like one of those things, isn't it? You deal with it with a smile, no matter how bad things get, and hope for the best. Although my whole body feels like lead, and my limbs are sore, I push myself away from the chair and head for the shower. The letter I dropped on the floor last night flutters open as I pass by, unfolding for no one else but me to see. Every word written on it glares back at me. They sneer. They ridicule. Like living beings fully aware of what they've done. With a huff, I pick it up and shove it into my bag, perhaps with more anger and frustration than I'm used to showing. This too, I'll deal with. Somehow, I'll find a way and make things right. I have to, before it takes more people from me, even if I must do it on my own. Papers rustling, telephones ringing, feet shuffling. Overall, today looks like a typical working day at Briar Realty Corporation. Except, it isn't. The air is thick with tension and unspoken questions. No doubt everyone present has already heard about Rose. If they missed last night's report, they'd likely see it in the morning news, in the papers, or on various news sites on the internet. Everywhere is a bitter reminder. In fact, everyone's giving me a wide berth, as though the mere mention of Rose would be enough to trigger something in me. It's appreciated, but it only serves to create a bigger hole in the place Rose has left. After lunch, my boss calls for a meeting. I don't have to look up from my work to know what it is about. He's in a strange, pensive mood today, probably out of respect for a dead colleague. Oddly, I'd appreciate it more if he just shouted at me today. Anything is better.
I'm sure you've all heard of what happened to Miss Cooper. She was a valued member of our team and she will be missed. There's no date for a funeral yet, but those who wish to attend, kindly speak with your respective supervisors. By the way, has anyone heard about our still AWOL staff? None? HR, you know what to do. Santos, a word in my office.
Oh boy, here we go. At the end of it, I've been given the entirety of Rose's workload, including finalizing the rights papers, and have been promised an ample compensation for my efforts. I think he's expecting me to be happy about it. Oh, hey, alright. Instead, I immerse myself in my work. I have to anyway, if I want to forget. Time flies when you do, and by the time I give notice, it's already late. Everyone's already gone, leaving me in the company of a radio and a member of our janitorial staff. I think I'm remembering something. I don't know if it's now. Yeah, let me hit save here. I don't even know his name. Rose likely does. She remembers people easily like that.
The Luxbourne Police Department continues its search for the following reported missing people.
The radio blares one name after another. Hold on a second. Missing? Aren't they? Still, I have to check. Frantic, I turn back to my desktop. The loud tapping of my fingers against the keys fills the office for the better part of my shift as I look through everything. The background about the place, its history from the current owners, and list of employees hired under BRC. And I'm right. Of course I am. BRC may have a lot of staff. They may have a lot of agents hired, but I'd remember those names anywhere. After all, they're also part of the crew who worked with us in preparing the mansion for the open house. Then the letters? No, that can't be. I hope it's not what I'm thinking.
But Rose is...
Something snaps into place in the fraction of a moment. These people, Rose, the letter.
I need to... No, if it's like this, they still won't believe me. I have to make sure of it first.
Evidence doesn't lie. That's what Ash often says, right? If I have proof, then maybe. I don't want to get my hopes up yet, but maybe there's still a way I can save them. The letter, my phone, papers, anything that will be useful. I grab all of them and stuff them into my bag. I can't stay here. There's something I need to do. There's something those people should... The noise cut sharply through the room, stopping my hand short of cramming a pen into my bag. Yeah.
Hello? Anyone there?
Someone must have left their printer open again. Yeah, that's it. Perfect, rational explanation. I may be in a hurry, but if I don't turn it off, another person is certainly going to have a fit tomorrow over wasted company resources. Most of the time, it's Rose who does the nagging, but... The clicking of my pen in my hand is a welcome distraction as I search for the said object. Each stride of my feet takes also echoes throughout the empty workplace. I've lost sight of the janitor minutes ago, and with me being the only one left, the tapping of my feet against the wooden floor is something I soon learned to appreciate. It doesn't take me long to find it. By the time I turn it off, 5 pages are already strewn about on the ground, the paper tray having also been left ajar. Sighing, I pick each of it up and put someplace proper. But the page that greets me next makes my blood run cold. The chill that makes its way up my spine is as numbing as the day in the attic. The sheets crinkle under my tense grip. All I can hear is my breathing as it rasps through my gritted teeth. But before I can even gather myself, take the first steps out of here, total darkness suddenly envelopes me. Yep. All right. And as if hearing every horrid thought running inside my head right now, something snaps. A soft creak grating through the thin veil of stillness that has descended in the room. Every muscle, every bone in my body goes rigid at the sound. Familiar. So familiar now. Yet my own traitorous curiosity still presses me to take a careful peek over the cubicle's wall. It's her. Standing in the only exit of the office, albeit facing away from me. She doesn't even need to turn around for me to know it's the same misshapen face, tattered clothes, and unsightly gait. The same person in the attic. I take a step back. The pen I'm holding slips from my hands, and her entire head turns. Hey there. Hey there, crazy lady. A scream almost escapes my mouth, and I duck under my table as quickly as I can. My heart is pounding hard against my chest. I can hear the bone-chilling sounds of her walk, the weird clicking that follows her, and telltale squelch of something wet as she walks towards me. Nearer and nearer. The sounds are slowly getting louder. The only thing keeping the whimper from escaping me is my hand as it covers my mouth. Someone, please save me. Anyone. I close my eyes, muttering a continuous stream of prayers, all while attempting to steady my own breathing. Please, please don't let her hear me. Uh-oh. Oh boy, I think I failed this QuickTime event. Well, good thing I saved.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
When the last lines of my prayer have left me, all that remains is a hush. None of her footsteps, nor those chilling sounds she makes. Only silence. Is it safe? Another second passes, and when nothing comes... What? Hey there. Yeah, we failed the QuickTime event. Yeah. Alright, let's try that again. Oh my gosh. Alright. Okay, I think that went a little better. Let's see how we did. Let's see if we can stay alive this time. The seconds, minutes stretch out before me agonizingly. Is she gone? Slowly, I open my eyes to take a peek. I don't dare move or make a noise. Hey there. How's it going? In the face of such terror, I can only beg, let out silent pleas to whoever is out there. Please, please don't let her notice. I want to live. All right, Chapter Hannah. October 17th, Monday, the Cash Penthouse, something. All right, this is our first character switch. So, of course, we are left to wonder in suspense if Isabella is going to make it out of there. But considering we got that instead of just the straight-up death, like my first failed attempt at that QuickTime event, I think she'll be okay. But yeah, first character switch. So now we are in the view of Hannah, the wife of Mr. Wright. I forget his first name. One of the people who bought the mansion, the haunted mansion, from us. Alright, it is far too easy to get them to pay attention and rapture. They hang on to my every word and follow my every move. All of it would have been stifling had it not grown used to such stares. Most are respectful, some are hostile, if we are honest. And a few are downright inappropriate. After all, I am...
Kinda right!
There's a moment of agitation as a familiar, but less than welcome face approaches me with a suggestive smirk on his face. Of course, I have to keep a benevolent smile and greet him as I greet any good friend. After all, this man can turn heads being famous in his own right.
Officer Lee! What a pleasant surprise. I didn't think you'd have the time to attend tonight's party.
He is more Luke's friend than mine, really, and I am quite sure I only invited his wife. Much like I am only friends with the Chief Inspector because of Luke. Yes, Luke is our husband. Luke is only friends with Rochelle because of me. Unlike how I treated Lee, however, Luke never hid his animosity for the Lee matriarch. It was an odd sort of friendship, where we would have awkward double dates. I don't even recall his first name. It started with an N, I think? I might be wrong. Aside from being Chief Inspector of Luxbourne Police, his wife, Rochelle Lee née Vance, owns a General Electronics company, fridges and freezers mostly.
Oh, I always have time for my favourite socialite couple. Might I say, you look positively ravishing tonight. I see the husband isn't with you.
The way he eyes me up is enough to make my skin crawl. I just wish Luke is here to fend off the more unseemly of our peers. You know the ones. Men who are just a bit too friendly, staring too long at my assets, and getting close to just because my husband is not here. And to think they have the gall to do this at my own party? In my own house, if I might add. But like any high society woman worth her salt, I know how to handle it with grace and dignity.
I suppose you are looking pleasant as well. Luke's busy with work, unfortunately. Rochelle isn't here?
A shame. I do hope he isn't causing you much trouble. That husband of yours can be a bit daft sometimes, acting like he's still some young bachelor. The wife sends her regards and her apologies, but something came up with a doctor and she needed to attend to it. You know...
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped that. Blah, 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 blah. Well, we make small talk anyways. Rather, I'm forced to do so, as he would not leave my side after finding his place there. Much to my chagrin, I've been extricated from the few who flock in hopes of flattering, for I can tolerate them far better than Lee. He is a nice enough person, and I adore his wife, who is obviously the brains behind the two. But there is something unsettling about him. I do not trust him as much as I want to. He regales to me tales of the Luxbourne Police Department, a different affair to the usual gossip I am privy to, and though I am loath to admit, is interesting nonetheless. I expect the topic of business to die out quickly, which would be understandable enough due to the confidential nature of his work. But oh boy, was I wrong.
So, wearing civvies, I steal and drive off with one of the police mobiles, right? In the mirror, I see the new tank chasing on foot and screaming about theft. The look on his face was priceless when I parked it in the garage.
Oh my. You made him chase you all the way home for a prank. What did Rochelle have to say about that?
Rochelle has a strange love and hate affair with Lee. He is a married man who did not grow up past his early 20s, judging by the way he acts. Surprisingly enough, they've been married for a good 20 years. A lifetime if you compare it to my marriage of 7 years with Luke. I, on the other hand, well, Luke is no Lee. I should be happy about that, I suppose. Although my darling did have his moments.
Hey, the wife pulled my ear and gave me a good talking to, though. Besides, we live in a flat a block away, so it wasn't much of a grand chase.
Weren't you living in a house near the countryside?
Moved for work, you know. Or you probably don't.
No, I don't. But a flat in downtown? I suppose if that's what you like.
Oh, it's horrid. Hate that tiny place, no matter how convenient it can be for work. 55 square yards are not enough when you need to get away from the wife. I wouldn't mind a place away from the city. Even started looking at the ads. I spied an interesting lot, actually. Heard it was finally put up for sale. Or that something mansion, you know the one with all the ghost stories.
I know what he is talking about. There are really only a few urban legends around here. It's...
The Ermengarde Mansion?
That's the one. Worthy of a king it is. I'd buy it myself, but Rochelle would only gripe if I brought it up to her. Not to mention all the expenses a place like that would be a real fixer-upper. You also have to find someone willing to work there with how superstitious people can be.
If it becomes a problem, just hire someone to do an exorcism.
I mean, yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Hannah.
Actually, I do know of someone who could be up to the task.
High society, am I right? They just have easy access to exorcisms as well. These rich bastards.
You remember the Ludgates party at their Christchurch summer residence?
Of course. It was an excellent soiree. Everything was so classy, too. Such good taste.
Oh, that place was a pigsty until they hired out this interior designer and they turned it into a bloody palace. She worked for the Exodus for their apartment in Soho too, and they recommended her when we were looking up pieces for our beach house in Porto Colom. I think I have a business card, right? No, must have left it in my other jacket. Anyway, she's called, what's her name? Marianne, I believe, yes. But truly, if anyone were to get that place in McCullough, well, they'd be the envy and the talk of the town.
Well, if you put it that way, I might just snatch it up for myself. This place was starting to feel a bit small lately anyway.
Yeah, look at this tiny living room. Ugh. The rich. Sure, a 3-story penthouse might not fit the definition of small for some people. Okay, maybe a lot of people. But it isn't big enough to have grand parties in. As it is, I only invited about 30 people to this one, and it already feels cramped in here. It certainly would be nice if I didn't have to ride an elevator up and down several floors before I could get anywhere as well. All Luke's words, and not mine. Besides, I have been looking for a good anniversary gift. Luke might like this one. Where is he, anyway? October 21st, Friday. Luke is dressed to the nines as he usually is, and he looks ready for whatever the day will throw at him. His butler and valet wait at his side, just in case he isn't as ready as he looks. Of course, that is normal. What is confusing me is the fact that he is on his way out of the penthouse, considering we won't have anywhere to go until much later.
Where are you going?
I am to attend the Triad Autumn Tasting. I do believe I informed you of this 2 weeks ago.
Yes. And might I remind you that I had stricken that off your schedule? Because 1, the doctor told you to stop consuming so much alcohol. And 2, I informed you a few days ago about the open house we are going to attend in its place. I've even found this marvelous interior designer, Mary Ann McCullough.
It's a 3.5-hour drive to Cardiff. I don't have time for this. This is like that little party you threw all over again. You don't inform me of it, and you expect me to stay and be a gracious host when I have business elsewhere. You know how I operate, Hana. Unless this was penciled in, I am sticking to my schedule.
If I may intrude, the madam is correct. Your physician did insist you moderate your drinking, unless you wish to incur acute pancreatitis. And you did have this open house penciled in last Wednesday morning.
Bullocks, I don't remember doing so.
Well, you did. While very hungover, in fact.
He did. Moaned about me being too loud, but gave in after some pushing. Perhaps that was a bit too cruel and manipulative of me, but...
Whose side are you on?
Come on, Luke. You promised we'd do whatever I want this weekend.
Gordon Bennett, fine. I am giving this house tour of yours a chance. But if it proves to be a waste of time, I am going to Cardiff, and you are going to take a cab home. Are we clear?
It's just a bit of husband and wife tit for tat, isn't it? All couples have their arguments. Once the honeymoon phase is over, as they seem to call it, reality sets in that you and your partner might not always see eye to eye. Perhaps it has been the years. 7 of them is nothing to scoff at.
I just cannot bloody believe I agreed to this. I was really looking forward to the Triad tasting.
Though sometimes, I think it's something a bit more than just simple disagreements, and I have to stop myself from wondering where we went wrong.
There's always the Triad Christmas tasting in Manchester next month, and that'll only be an hour-and-a-half drive.
Have I been neglectful? Have I offended? Have I acted shamefully?
Yes, but Cardiff...
Certainly any problem can be discussed, as long as he doesn't turn me away.
Well, there goes my good mood. Are you happy now, Hana?
Why must he treat me this way? We have the option to remain silent or to defend myself. This guy, Luke, is a fucking dipshit. And I want Hannah to defend herself.
Yes, I am very happy, Luke. Because for once in a very long time, we are doing what I want. I'm ecstatic. Understood? And this would be perfect if you stop acting like a child who needs their nappy changed. We will be leaving after lunch for the Ermengarde mansion. You are going to park your rear in the car and keep mum. And you are going to behave during the tour.
Needless to say, Luke looks a bit shocked at my little outburst. He opened and closed his mouth a few times, struggling to reply. But before he crosses his arms to look like, well, a moping child.
Any more rules for this little excursion of yours, Your Highness?
No wine.
No wine? Unacceptable! I am already not allowed to the tasting, and you would deprive me of that simple pleasure?
If I see you take one sip today, I will put the stocks under lock and key. Do you understand me?
Don't forget the bottles he keeps in his dresser.
Whose side are you on?
How many times in one day can you ask that?
As many times as I need you, traitor.
The ride to the mansion is quiet, with Luke having stared out the window the entire way, not paying attention to anything around him. Meanwhile, I am conflicted. I don't know if I should apologize for changing his plans like that. But by the time we arrive at the mansion, I can see his eyes light up in genuine interest. Apologizing is the last thing on my mind. The whole affair with the Ermengarde mansion is certainly an interesting experience. The place had been renovated and restored by the owners to what they claim to be acceptable standards. The mansion itself looks like something befitting a fairy tale or a period piece. It is tastefully decorated, and with a little bit of love and attention, I'm sure it could be a place Luke and I can call home. And the number of other prospective buyers that have come from the powerful and wealthy of Luxborn certainly did not disappoint, marking this estate as prime property. The Lees are amongst the group who went with the Rose Woman, and I saw a few other notable faces, though I did not really feel like mingling. Unfortunately, for every one of them, the Wrights are interested in buying. What's been bugging my mind, however, is that Isabel. It's Isabella, Hannah. What is her problem? I still don't quite understand what is happening. One moment she is scrambling to give us the paperwork to finalize the sale. Then she is panicking over some sort of prank letter or something. The second thing on my mind is how touchy my darling husband is being towards the poor dear. I cannot even plaster a smile on my face. A horrid scowl is taking its place. There is no way I can pretend nothing is wrong as I hum.
And I'm sure little Lily here would certainly appreciate it if you remove your pretty hands from her, darling.
He is quick enough to detract his hand, which is all that the girl needs to, well, for a lack of a better word, escape.
I think I need to step out for a while. I'll be back.
Her partner follows, shouting after her without hesitation. There is an awkward air among us as we are left in the wake of whatever that was. The others murmur and gossip with each other, speaking of the poor, daft girl, and telling the tale to whoever was not audience to the act in the first place. It doesn't take long for the woman, Rose, to return and pull us aside into the study for what I rightfully assume is damage control. Rose invites Marianne too, hoping to apologize to her as well. But the woman refuses, saying she is not one of her clients anyway. That leaves myself, Rose, and Luke, the last all too eager to make himself comfortable in a study he's no doubt already claimed as his own.
I can't apologize enough about what just happened. Please forgive Isabella. She's been under a lot of pressure lately. She's young, and all those rumors about this being haunted just got to her head. And it must be this terrible heat, too. Not a drop of rain for days now.
Oh, it's fine. The poor girl must feel so embarrassed about what she just did. But I say, let bygones be bygones. After all, she's only a child. She looked, 19?
I shoot Luke an accusing look at those words. After all, he tried flirting with the girl. The nerve of him. And not only that Isabel girl, but also Marianne and Rose too. What kind of husband would think it's even a remotely good idea to make moves on 3 different women while his wife stands there? Did he drink while I wasn't looking?
She's a bit older than that. But again, I apologize. And if there's any way I can make up for what just happened, just...
I know what you can do. Be a darling flower and get us one of those bottles you plan to serve.
Alright, you're getting it. You just need to shut the hell up, Luke.
Pop it open.
We were planning on serving some champagne. I can get that.
That would be lovely. Much obliged.
Do you want a glass as well, Ms. Wright?
Oh no, I'm fine. I really shouldn't be drinking right now.
And Luke shouldn't be either. But right now I am just too tired for any sort of argument. I don't have the heart to scold him in public as well. I am certainly not his mother. I just want to get this horrid day done and gone, go home and sleep. Perhaps I'll even have a strong cuppa before I head off to bed. Yes, that sounds nice. When Rose comes back with the champagne, I beckon her over. As I have told her partner before, I have every intent of acquiring this house. I might as well, even if I'm having second thoughts about getting it for Luke. The moment we, the Wrights, had expressed interest in this place, we've had eyes set on us. If we don't buy it, that might as well be the signal to have busybodies gossip about how we may or may not have lost our fortune. Regardless of the fact that it is false, image is everything when dealing with these people. These are the unspoken rules for people such as ourselves. And besides, I really did like the place. Why, everything here is absolutely wonderful. Well, except for this ugly painting in the study. Yeah. Alright. We'll save just in case. But, I'd keep it. That's a cool painting. I'd totally have that painting in my haunted house. Wouldn't you? It looks like a bad fake of an Edvard Munch painting. Whatever. I butchered that name. I don't care.
Here's the deal. I'm willing to pay 10% higher than your listing price. If anyone tries to outbid us, just add another 5%. I doubt anyone can, of course. Or, you know what? Just add 15% to the listing price, and we can sign all the paperwork now.
I guess, if that's what you want. That won't be any trouble. I don't have all the papers now. Didn't think this would be a quick sell. I'll have copies sent to you so you can look over them. And if you'd still like to finish the rest of the tour with Isabella's group, you're more than welcome to.
No, I think we're good here. We'd appreciate a private tour of the place a lot more, I think.
All right. Should I let Marianne in, then?
Marianne? Oh, right. She's been waiting outside the study the whole time, hasn't she? I'll need to have a little chat with her to move this little mansion project forward.
Please do.
There is a look of apprehension when the other woman enters the study. Yet, like a professional, I see the moment when she steels herself and masks her worry. Admirable.
We have this project then?
Of course. Will you be needing anything from us?
Having the floor plans would be a great start, just so that I can look at them beforehand. And if you could tell me when you're available for a meeting so that I can include it in my calendar?
Oh, is a meeting really all that necessary, Marianne? I guess we can send Johans to help you out. You two can start by getting rid of this ugly painting.
I like how it just keeps popping up. The painting must be heard. It must be seen. Perhaps the ghost lady is the help me be seen. Put me in a museum, an art museum. Let people know. Let people see the amazingness of this painting. It's beautiful. A hush falls upon the room at my request.
What painting?
Luke, what painting, and can I fuck it? And lo and behold, the painting is gone. In its place, a mirror stands, which leaves me to look at my own confused expression.
Odd. Well, no matter. Back to the topic at hand. Marianne, dear, we are simply far too busy to meet up.
Or perhaps maybe I should... Alright, do we free up the schedule or question the need for a meeting? See, and now I'm trying to think kind of meta, like, are we gonna have, I assume we'd have the meeting here, right? So, you know, any time spent in this mansion would definitely be dangerous for Hannah here, who we are controlling at this point. So if we question the need for a meeting, maybe we won't go here, but then Mary Ann McCullough would be by herself and maybe she would end up dying. So maybe if we are actually having the meeting here, power in numbers. And also, why not free up our schedule? Like, we can, maybe we can cancel some stuff with our jerkbag husband. Alright, let's free up our schedule.
But I guess we can free up a day to meet with you. I don't really need another Maudlin Monday reading about Maury anyway. The book club can function without me for one day. What time shall we be seeing each other? How does lunch sound?
Besides, my house has a higher priority over the book club. Why, we can hold the next meeting in this place. Surely the beauty and grandeur of it all will inspire spirited and lively debates about whether modern-day writers could match up with the classics. You know, I'm joking around here. However, I would totally go to a book club in a haunted mansion. Totally would. That'd be pretty cool. I might as well clear up the rest of my week to handle whatever affairs buying this mansion requires of me. Any social activity can be put off until the Ermengarde, or rather, the Wright Mansion's great debut. I'll have my fill of great parties and gatherings, especially when I organize them myself.
That sounds good. Although, with a project of this scope, we might need most of the day to tackle your concerns. A more thorough inspection of the place is also preferable.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. So we're definitely putting ourselves in danger. However, if we didn't do it, leaving Marianne by herself, not a good idea. I'm thinking power and numbers is the way to go here.
Breakfast then! It's a date.
It's really not.
Aww. I'd rather Hannah and Marianne get together. Luke can go right to hell.
All right. Monday, 10 o'clock sharp. We'll see you then.
Actually, Marianne suggested that we meet at 9, but who is even awake at that unholy hour? Ugh, I know, right? I'm with you, Hannah. I was lucky enough to wake up this morning before Luke went all the way to Cardiff. We say our goodbyes, shake hands, and make it clear without outright saying it that we now own this house. By the time we left the mansion grounds, sunset is almost upon us.
So, you really want to buy this place then? That's a bit of a big impulse buy, even coming from you. Not that I'm complaining.
Well, I'm glad you're not complaining like you usually do. It's a right and proper Christmas miracle, isn't it? Hannah has finally done something right.
I refuse to look at him, staring at the passing scenery instead.
Hey, Buttercup, what's with this cheek?
Rose, Lily, Mint. The nerve, Luke, the nerve!
Is that what this is about? 1, that woman's name was Rose. And 2, you know I don't mean a word of that empty flirting.
And it's still the principle of things, Luke. I understand if you try to woo them to get what you want when it seems that I'm not looking. But I told you once before not to do it when I'm there.
Luke dealt with other women in the past to get what he wanted. Sometimes I have my doubts. I really want to believe that I am an exception, that he is not just using me like how he used those other girls. I am having a hard time believing that now. And it isn't just the shameless flirting. There's something about that Marianne woman, as if Luke is familiar with her. As much as it shames me, it makes jealousy rear its ugly head. I am, suffice to say, ticked off.
Really? I forfeit my trip to Cardiff for this, and you're still not happy.
Look at his dipshit fucking face right here. Look at it. That's a punchable face if I've ever seen one.
Oh, trust me, Luke. I am very happy. Very happy that, for once, we are doing something that I want. Can you not see the smile on my face?
Right there. Right there, she's very happy. It is only when I let loose those words that the truth hits me like a slap in the face. And by the looks of it, it seems to have the same effect on my dear, darling husband. It has always been, Luke wants to do this, and Luke wants to do that, hasn't it? I don't even remember the last trip we went to, which was of my own choosing, without needing to get the man's approval. On the other hand, I was pulled along to every single expedition he wished to tackle, and I never objected. Oh, jeez, I keep doing that. The rest of the ride home is spent ignoring each other, pretending the other didn't exist. Arriving at our penthouse, my first order of business is to get into bed. Forget a hot bath and forget the tea. I just want to bury myself in blankets and forget everything in my slumber. It seems that Luke has the same idea in mind as he tags along behind me. But this is something I will not allow the moment I pass through the door.
Out.
What the bloody hell, woman? This is my bedroom too!
Luke stands flabbergasted as I deny him entry into our chambers. His pillows lie on the cold, tiled floors, away from the warmth of our soft down bed, and my gaze promises him the same fate if he does not budge on this matter.
Don't even try to argue, because I am very cross with you, Luke Wright. You can take the second bedroom or the guest room if you wish, but I do not want to see you at all for the rest of the night.
Second bedroom, guest room, this gigantic living room. Like, dude, look at this. This couch looks pretty big. It's probably pretty comfortable too. You got the big screen right there. Maybe play some video games. Maybe play this little game called The Letter. You might enjoy it, Luke.
Johans!
Our butler wanders over, a curious expression on his face. He doesn't quite hurry, moving at a relaxed pace, no matter how angry his master sounded.
No, you are not allowed to sleep in my room, sir.
That's not what I mean! Help me talk some sense into her!
There is no sense in questioning her right to be angry, sir. So, if I might be excused, I'll go prepare the second bedroom for you.
I have to keep a straight face as he stomps away in defeat.
Mutiny! This is mutiny! The system is being upturned, and the people are rioting, and everything is left asunder.
It isn't every day that Luke is rendered speechless by someone he considers inferior, or to yield to another authority without an ulterior motive. His pride just won't allow it. I do keep telling the man to treat his people better. He may throw whatever fit he wants, but he will not be getting his way tonight. Victorious, I celebrate by jumping face first onto our bed. Undignified, yes, but nobody is here to judge me anyway. Right? Nobody is here to tell me what to do. Yet, as I succumb to sleep, I can hear them whisper to me. I can hear them whispering, "Save the game. Save the game. Save now." Help me. Calling for me. They want me. Need me. They drown me, pull me down and suffocate me in their embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss awaits, inviting yet foreboding. They're calling to me from in there, aren't they? And I do want to help, I do. But when I try to reach out, something pulls me back, like a hook sinking itself into my stomach. And I break through the surface with a gasp. A loaded bed, and without Luke to hog the covers, I am swathed in cloth and slicked with sweat. It takes me a while to untangle myself and kick them all off. Both the bed and I are a right mess by the end of it all, but I am more than eager to just get up and go out for some fresh air. October 26, Wednesday. The days past had gone by a blur. We hadn't talked much, Luke and I, outside of necessity. In fact, we've hardly talked beyond the topic of acquisitions of properties. Properties being the mansion, obviously. Everything has been so busy that I haven't talked to anyone outside of business, and it is just so stressing. So one can understand my need for a good chat, preferably over a good meal. There are times when any decent, emotionally healthy, and socially capable person might need a good friend. One who will talk to them without the conversation degrading or turning into an argument. Or barring a nearby friend, I have an interior designer under a confidentiality agreement to listen to me.
Up, higher, come on now!
The place is bustling with movers carrying furnishings here and there, along with several trunks of personal belongings taken from our penthouse. I can hear Luke barking at them in the other room. Excuse me. Making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen.
Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African Blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It is hard to tune him out. The walls did not do a good job of muffling him at all. But then again, it is Luke. I would still hear him ranting even if it were on the opposite sides of the mansion and I'm wearing earplugs.
I'd really like to thank you for inviting me to breakfast, Mrs. Wright. But I already ate, so I should really go back to work.
Nonsense! You arrived so early, you must not have gotten a proper meal. Our butler has made a surprisingly lovely bubble and squeak.
I don't think I know what a bubble and squeak is. But okay.
Sit. I'd situate us in the dining hall, but it is a mess right now. Oh, Johans!
The man in question appears ready with a tray as he starts to set the table for us. We sit in silence as we are each served a plate. Bubble and squeak, topped with a nicely poached egg, with cherry tomatoes and other garnishes adorning the edge of the plate. Well, I mean, I like egg and cherry tomatoes and garnishes, other garnishes. I'm still unsure, like, what this is, though. Like some kind of loaf of something? A cup and saucer and a teapot with some Earl Grey is placed down for Marianne and I. Is placed down for Marianne. And I ask for an orange Julius.
How are you liking the project?
Drop that vase and I'll have your head! I know it's only an 8 million yen vase, but I swear,
Well, it's certainly a fun challenge, incorporating the designs of a Jacobean manor and the functionality of a modern household. I have ideas I would like to suggest, by the way, about what to use the second bedroom for. I have been informed of your goddaughter and thought a kid-friendly room might be in order.
You read my mind. I was actually going to bring that up. Oh, that would just be so lovely, Marianne. That way, Kylie can bring her friends over as well. And a good friend of mine, Rochelle, is expecting a baby. So, why don't we think about putting a crib in there too? I can just imagine little ones running around, filling this place with the pitter-patter of their feet. We'd have to make sure they don't trip and fall on the stairs, though.
Yeah, not like Isabella.
We won't be able to finish everything up until after the party. But we'll have it ready by then, so that all we need to do is to move in the furnishings.
Yes, that's plenty fine. It's not like we're in a hurry to have it. And we wouldn't want the workers to disturb the guests or the other way around, do we? Just make sure it's presentable. You know, in case a guest snoops about.
Of course. As for the kitchen you wanted, I've already negotiated for the high-end stoves and the hot and cold drawers, so on and so forth. I've got a friend who is able to customize them so that they'll look like the counters we'll be replacing and fit the rest of the interior. They'll be bringing them in today.
Why can't you people do anything right? Don't drag it. You'll scratch the wood.
Excellent. But no, really, how have you liked it so far?
Oh, it has been wonderful, believe me. Everything is going smoothly too. It has been a long time since I've worked on something on this grand a scale. Nowadays, everyone is about condos and flats, living in the city where every room is an identical box. Believe me, this is very refreshing.
We lived in a condo before this, Marianne.
I didn't mean any insult.
It's fine, sweetie. Look at you, all frazzled. I was just pulling your leg. Luke wanted that penthouse when we got married, and you can thank him for purchasing this place as well.
She looks confused. Of course, she has every right to be. She, no doubt, overheard me push that real estate agent into the sale, making quite the aggressive offer. She saw me sign the papers for the mansion as well. I just had to scoff.
Don't be fooled. I'm just the treasury. I wouldn't be able to make a purchase this grand without his seal of approval.
I see.
That's it. That's all you have to say?
Yes. It wouldn't be appropriate to comment further. It is unprofessional.
Unprofessional?
I can't help but let out a deep sigh as I stick a fork into the dish. I didn't want professional. I want someone who will either agree with me, even if it's just for the sake of agreeing, or someone who will try to talk some sense into me. Neutral responses are so boring. There is no discourse in the middle ground.
The food is good. Best bubble and squeak.
Of course it is. Our kitchen staff only uses the freshest hand-picked ingredients. Only the best for the Wrights.
Mr. Wright is not joining us?
No. He is far too busy bossing people around. He even refused to join me for breakfast earlier. Hence, this.
I see. My apologies. I really don't know what sort of response you expect to get from me.
Oh. There is a clatter of silverware as I slam my hands on the table. It is frustrating. I am frustrated. At Luke mostly. But Marianne's neutral, professional answers are certainly irksome as well.
You're a human with feelings and opinions, aren't you? Don't give me this bollocks about being professional when we're having a nice friendly chat over a nice and friendly breakfast. I can only talk about interior designs for so long, and I detest one-sided conversations, Marianne.
But I really don't know what to say, Mrs. Wright. We were talking of no topic in particular, and...
Oh, alright. Hold on 1 second. Alright.
Luke. We were talking about Luke.
About him not eating breakfast with you?
About him treating me as if I were some treasury.
I didn't realize that I shouted that loud. Until it is too late. There is a stunned silence that settled before I slump back into my seat. Hiding my face behind my hands, I can feel my shoulders shake. Breathe, I told myself. Calm down. But it is just so hard.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like he doesn't love me anymore. Oh, have I been so blind? Because...
I didn't mean to skip that. I got a little trigger happy there. I'm sorry.
Because?
Did I say all that out loud? Again? No, this is bad. Unacceptable. It has been rumored before, the real reason for our engagement, but if anyone were to know of this... Marriages of necessity to carry on political and financial power used to be a common thing, but the Evans-Wright union is the perfect happily ever after. Was supposed to be. It is true that we first met each other in order to discuss dealings, to make the then failing Wright Enterprise a subsidiary for Evans Incorporated. But I do remember being in love with him, and there were times when he said he loved me back. Even if I'm not sure of what the truth is now. Either way, I do not want the Wright name or the Evans name dragged through the mud because of a slip-up. And if Marianne so much as talked of this... let's see, we can threaten Marianne, or ask for her silence. Well, threatening would be something that Luke would do. We are not that asshole Luke, so I'm saying that's out of the question for us. And didn't Hannah already mentioned there was like some confidentiality with her anyways, so I guess we'll ask for her silence. Marianne is a good sort, isn't she? So far, she has been reasonable and accommodating, even towards Luke's ridiculous requests. Patient and professional. Did it only extend to business? Or would she be able to understand that things like this are not as simple, not as clean as they are painted to be? Certainly, I can talk to her. Ask for her.
I won't speak a word, Mrs. Wright.
You know, aside from my friends and family, everybody I talk about, I work to, people at the bar or the pub.
Not only am I contractually obliged to, it would also go against my principles.
Aside from friends and family, people I work with, people at the bar or pub.
This is no one else's business but your own, and it should be kept between the two of you.
And my friends and family, people I work with, people at the bar or the pub.
And whoever you wish to seek counsel from.
Please, Marianne. You have to understand. These sort of affairs, if anyone were to know this, they could just twist it and we'll be ruined. All I ask for is your silence on the matter.
If I am to be frank, Mrs. Wright, this isn't new for me. You aren't the first, and you certainly won't be the last to have complicated dealings. Unless what you're doing is illegal, I turn a blind eye.
Can I trust her?
If I wasn't in the same boat, I'd be trying to pry those secrets and gossip with you about them by now.
Well, I'm keeping that information confidential as well.
It's not like I have any other choice, do I?
Thank you.
We continue to eat our meal in peace, finishing the last of the food and drink. When the door to the parlor opened, Marianne and I are just sitting in silence.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
I give him nothing but a small nod.
This was a wonderful meal, Marianne. You're free to return to your duties. I must excuse myself.
It was my pleasure. And thank you for the food as well.
Making my way downstairs, I look back and see Marianne give me a nod and a small smile. That certainly put me in lighter spirits. An interview with luxury living. That is today, isn't it? Oh, yes. People had caught wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Well, there were complications and it took longer than it usually does for us. Hopefully, I won't have any other unfortunate slip-ups with someone who isn't bound by confidentiality. The mansion grounds has been one of the first things to be fixed up, aside from the bedroom. Although it's still a work in progress, it had a promising start, and I can already see the flower patches. Luke's favored daffodils stands out easily, having been transplanted from the pots that used to litter the rooftops of our penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke had been hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of their discussion. Oh shit, it's Zack. It is in the gardens that I see him standing near the flowers in quiet admiration. He is hard to miss, the hulk of a man that clearly did not belong, and the big backpack and suitcase he has with him makes him look much larger. It is a peculiar sight seeing someone who looks like he does handling little delicate things with such care. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am. Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
The one and only. Welcome to Maison de Right. And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed. But it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own. We've had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Hana. If I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hana.
Alrighty then. Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Wright. Hana.
Zachary proves quickly enough that I can, in fact, trust him, his skills with the camera and experience in this industry at the very least. He is kind and courteous, listening and following as I lead him around the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well whenever we cross paths with them. I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he is patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask what the bags are for. They are quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he has procured several items to embellish the interior with. Bowls of fruits, lemons, trays with peppermills, stacks of cookbooks, cutting boards, and glass canisters filled with colorful nuts and grains are brought in for a kitchen setting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in that large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights. Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best. I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
We go through the rooms one at a time, although we first tackle the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. The ballroom needs little preparation with its grand design, although there is some trouble at first with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. It is in the kitchen that Zachary props come in handy, considering how Johans kept the place so neat and sterile, one can practically eat off the floor. We carry on touring the house and taking pictures where we can, with exception to the rooms which have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. I'm kind of wondering, are we gonna get up to that one attic in the West Wing where Isabella had her first scare with the ghost lady, and then the cursed chain letter? Or did the movers fix it up, or did anyone fix it up? Like, it wasn't looking too great anyways, but... Funnily enough, he is using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. With the way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversation in between the clicking of the camera. He even goes as far as to talk about these terminologies like shutter speed and aperture. When I ask about the technical aspects, I can't quite see the pictures as it is made, much like when I watch artists paint on their canvas. But just watching someone passionately practicing their craft, such as this, is exciting in its own way. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for both of us. Despite that, he has been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile. Oh, look at these two. Look at these two. But it is as we're taking pictures in the foyer that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And had I not been paying attention, I wouldn't have even noticed. It is merely a split second when Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. His finger doesn't move to release the shutter. Seems like we'll hit that save, that good old save. Hey, Zach. How about it? Yet he also doesn't pull the camera away from his face, gaze still firmly fixed through the viewfinder. His hands shake, and there is a light sheen of sweat on his forehead.
Zachary?
No response.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Yeah, I'm thinking Zach. Maybe Zach will finally now believe Isabella. Now that he's seeing Ghost Girl here. Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me before shaking his head. Turning around, though, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something I saw.
I just remembered someone was telling me a tragic joke, and it kind of shocked me.
Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
I struggle to respond this time. There's a sudden weight on my back, and an indescribable tightness around my throat. Everything stops. And everything starts again as I manage to choke out.
If you're sure.
I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. And he said he's fine. We continue at the same pace as before, although there is an unspoken agreement that we will not talk about what happened.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
It's all okay now. We got the nice jaunty piano tune.
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
I like her, like, this, you don't want to take photographs? What would you rather do, Zachary? Maybe I've been out of line, sticking my nose into other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so, as I see his shoulders slump, and the easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it or not.
Films. Documentaries, mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibi a lot more.
Very funny.
Oh, should I have thrown one of these in there? I guess I didn't get the joke.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
He hesitates, but when I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Oh no. Yeah, I'm not gonna even read that. Anybody watching this can read that themselves. I'll just say Blue Fonzie, since they kind of said it. And then the rest is up for anybody else watching. Okay, there we go. Dark Blue, the darkest hours of the Black British. He speaks with the passion of one who has gone through the very matter he is concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I would have told him that he is an amazing speaker, if only I wasn't so engrossed listening. Prejudice and discrimination in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity and higher chances of being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks and people of color in general still being treated like second-class citizens, all because of the color of their skin. It is all just positively riveting and sad. It comes to a point wherein he soon loses steam. He looks abashed, realizing what he had just done.
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion, after all. You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely.
Yeah, I can see Hannah being really into this, considering her husband Luke's passion is apparently drinking, and that's about it.
You do have very beautiful eyes.
Aww. I want these crazy kids to get together. Plot to murder Luke and get together, please.
Uh-huh. Thanks, I guess.
I want to say that I understand where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly don't know how I would have fared were it any different. Would I still have met Luke? And would he still have loved me if I was any lesser?
What was your home like? These things you talk about, it sounds like you've... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean...
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat. And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around. But a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
Oh, that I knew. Children can be so cruel sometimes. Of course, it may be slightly different story when you have personal guards, and the stolen item is not a pencil, but an expensive heirloom.
So what about you? How you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive.
It's nice, I suppose.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully. It's just that...
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
I was a little girl all dolled up and treated like fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting to me hand and foot. All the material possessions anyone could ever want, I could ask for on a whim, and it would be handed to me just like that. But I barely saw my parents. Just goodbye kisses in the morning before they went off to who knows where they needed to go next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really. It makes you think how alone you are.
A pensive mood overcomes us, and there's a moment where neither of us are sure how to go on from there. Things have gotten a bit too personal, yet it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like as if we've been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make home out of it yet.
He certainly makes it easy to believe that. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one. Just as large and extravagant, and just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde Mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Forget the interview. Date.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, The Darkest Hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite.
Agreed.
What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and after snapping a few shots, he grins.
Yeah, vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French. You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
No, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry. But I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It has been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around. A bit too comfortable. The photo shoot went by in a breeze, and somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. He'll give me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agreed to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. That is just how I am. Zachary is the one that's being odd. Why anyone would absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. You know, for a rich lady, she, like, I'll give her credit, she's shown many moments, you know, just recently of understanding her privilege and understanding that there are more important things that, like, people should be reporting on, you know, horrible things that are happening to people in the world who aren't, you know, rich white people. But then, yeah, she still kind of ends up going back, like, why is he so taken aback? He should love that I'm giving him this attention. Everybody loves me. But I'll still give credit where credit's due. She still understands her privilege. I think it would be nice if a lot more rich people could recognize that instead of being such garbage people that we should all eat. Well, we should probably eat them anyways, regardless. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy. He should be able to handle me. Oh ho ho. All it was is a friendly touch here, a pretty smile there, and gentle swaying of the hips as I move around. Oh my god. Hana. Zachary grew more and more red every time he noticed. So, I know I'm a hypocrite here. I totally want Hannah and Zach to get together. But I'm going to justify my hypocrisy, you know, considering how Luke has done, you know, like he was flirting with 3 women, like, right in front of her. But he's a garbage person. They should not be together. Luke sucks. Luke is terrible. Am I being mean, as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? I'm not sure if I want to, though. Alright, we had the option to continue teasing or to stop it. Well, as much as I do want them to get together, Zach is getting, you know, a little uncomfortable or distracted, and, I think, the good, proper thing to do would to stop it, stop doing it, you know, until we have his consent, of course.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but...
He gestures to the ring on my finger and lets the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I am too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out, rather than being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
No. No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Not a one, ma'am.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
Whoa, whoa. Whoa. Hannah. Hannah. I can't help it. I really, really can't. And I'm going to apologize lots later. Surely, by the catty smile on my face, it is obvious that I'm just pulling his leg. The laugh I failed to contain certainly gives it away, if it isn't still obvious, or if it still isn't obvious, whatever arrangement of words was the correct way to say that. It's right here. There you go. But still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
No, what? No! Don't call your butler, she's Hannah!
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man. I do not think he can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I can play guitar too.
You can? Oh my, wonderful serenades as well then. Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame. I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
Of course. I'll even deliver them personally. Just, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johans comes out of the house. Judging by the slight raise in his eyebrows, he has heard only the tail end of the sentence.
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof. Danke.
But you are not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing him within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. And just as ever, he is quick to return with a sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper. Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hannah. And you too, Hansi.
It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. You have a safe trip.
He nods, and the grin on his face, wait. Oh, okay. He nods, and the grin on his face as we say our goodbyes is the sweetest that I have ever seen. I linger, looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle, backpack safely secured in the basket by the front, and suitcase hooked to the back. I watch as he went down the path back to Anslum village until he is nothing more than a blip in the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Entering the dining hall gives me so much confusion. It is dark. For a moment I thought the electric work is not up to par, but that clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task, considering the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle, and there is the distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me and only spurs me on in my search. And when I do open the lights, there is a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
Ugh. Oh, look, it's Luke. And he's drinking absinthe. There, at the end of the hall, is my beloved husband, with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go. It's only one glass of wine. Like radioactive toxic sludge wine? How? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. This is clearly absinthe then. You got the sugar cube and that like spoon with the holes in it that you pour the absinthe over the sugar cube into. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe? You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke. Are you actively trying to kill yourself?
Please do.
Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hana, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you? If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
What's it gonna be? Should I tell the truth or tell a little lie? Might as well just tell the truth. I mean, we were with he was the photographer.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
I have no reason to tell lies. It's not like I am guilty or anything. But as Luke's expression turns, he makes me feel like I actually am to blame for something. He has a way of making me laid bare with just a look. That had really struck me when we first met years ago.
That giant Negro?
Oh, shut the fuck up, Luke.
You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing. I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup. He must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that. But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, one wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning. He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
His eyes were the first thing I noticed about him. They were like nature, the grass and the trees, wonderful and breathtaking. Now, as I look at him, they're nothing but the same shade of green as the bloody damn drink in his hand.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hana.
No. I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
Hangover forgotten, during the course of this little spat, the man jumps to his feet and seethes. It looks like he is barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want. And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes. Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Look, Luke. Nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous. Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served. Well, grander than usual anyway. Most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. A platter of native oysters for starters, and tranche of turbot with purple sprouting broccoli, lemon capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. To finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands kissing me goodnight and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of night, I sit in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There is no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback, what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke, and for our future children fills me with a renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled, yet at the same time, it shakes me to the very core as I hear it, as if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen, where we are gonna save the game, and into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
Yeah, did we not have a dream about this the night before? I am curious and concerned, but there is no way I am going down into a dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I am not wholly benevolent. So I will Opening it seems like such a trap. We'll call him out. I knock 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me with no results. And I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out.
You, in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
With how long I am standing here, however, I am starting to think myself a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with doesn't sit well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me? Why, I ought to...
I freeze as a hand clamps down on my shoulder. Uh-oh. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel, unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest, but the touch is gone as quickly as it has seized me. It is only Johans. I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
Okay, alright, so it's just him here, so yeah, I feel like opening up the trapdoor probably would have been like a death sequence.
I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least I'd like to interpret it as concern given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the latch for good measure prove his words to be true. Yet I have a feeling we probably would have been able to open it up. And then, promptly die, I'm sure. Because, when it comes to the supernatural, doors lock and unlock on the whims of the spirits. The thing won't budge unless I had a key, short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There is a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense, and who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? I am just tired, that's it. Long day of moving, the interview dealing with Luke, that has all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Good night, Johannes. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there's something wrong with this house, or there's something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight. October 28th, Friday. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. Alright, we've made it to another day. So far the only person in the game to die, at least permanently, is Rose, Isabella's co-worker. Of course, we did accidentally get Isabella killed in a game over sequence when we were trying to hide from Ghost Lady. And then we had to reload, and we were able to successfully hide. Maybe it did cut out, and we began playing as Hana. But yeah, I'm sure Isabella is fine. We'll probably see her soon, maybe. But yeah, I think this is where I'm going to end it for the night. A little bit shorter stream than the past few, but it seems like a good place to stop. We're starting a new day. I'm not sure how long Hana's portion, Hana Part 1, I should say. Not sure how long this portion is going to be before we switch to another character. But yeah, I'd say we've made some progress. Yeah, we saw a little bit, continued on a little bit with Isabella. We had our third encounter with the ghost girl, and then we switched over to Hana, starting in the past, through purchasing the mansion, and now living there after purchasing it. Had a couple ghostly encounters with playing as Hana, with the fun painting that we saw a couple times with the gross ghost lady, who then disappeared from the painting, and I guess it was just a mirror the whole time. Interesting. And we had another encounter with while we were getting our photographs taken by Zach for the Luxury Living magazine. She was kind of behind us and grasping at our neck. And then, yeah, the third encounter down there in the kitchen with that trap door into the wine cellar. But then we were saved by Johannes and went to bed. So yeah, I'd say I've been going for about 2 hours 51 minutes. We've made a little progress. Very good. So yeah, and that'll be it for today. So we'll save more for next time. This is a bit of a longer game. Visual novel, telling a whole big story. So there is going to be plenty more of the letter left. And, yep, I will be back next time, probably on, I usually take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off from streaming. Unless I'm feeling it, for some odd reason. But if I'm not, I'll still be off these next 3 days, and I will be back Thursday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for 4 more days, probably, of the letter. We'll dig further into this horror mystery, see what's going on. Who is this ghost lady? Why is she so angry? What's the deal with the haunted chain letter? What is the mystery behind the Ermengarde mansion? Yes, stay tuned. for future streams. I know everyone is dying to know. Well, anyways, thanks to anybody who may have popped in on stream and anybody who may be watching this after the fact. Many, many, many thanks. And yes, until next time, have a good night, morning, day, afternoon, whatever time it might be where you are when you're watching this. But regardless, until next time, have a good night.